guys. Okay, so, well, apparently my chat is going to be weird again. Not what I wanted to do, stuff like. Okay, can I get a hands up from everybody that can see me and hear my voice? Okay, so that's Keith. Okay. I will start by saying happy birthday to Isis, since it is her birthday. Okay, so today's broadcast is about tarot cards, and I know a few of you saw my very first broadcast, and this will basically be to reiterate some of the things that I said on that and to add on to it. For those that don't know me, ew, CSD. Anyways, for those that don't know me, I am Willow. I am 20 years old, and I don't know. That's kind of one of those things of, who are you? And my brain goes, who am I? I am going to start with the basics first. Tarot is a form of divination where you use cards. This can be normal playing cards, it can be a deck, which is inside the baggie, not the baggie itself. Really anything can be used as tarot cards. I know people that have used Uno cards when they decided they were going to accidentally ruin their own tarot cards. And I know people that use playing cards. I prefer my decks, my actual tarot decks, just for the sole purpose of I get better readings with them. And I do say them because I do have two. I bought another one. Sorry guys, apparently having a week off just kind of made me, I don't know, just, Anyways, tarot is not set in stone. The way that I explain tarot to people is, depending on the spread that you use, you are getting one possibility for the future. Normally, it gives you, a tarot spread gives you the past, present, future, and advice. This future that you get during that tarot spread is only possible if you take that advice. I know a lot of people have issues also choosing what spread to use for a specific situation. The way I always do it is, if one spread doesn't work, then I try another. Usually though, if you are giving a reading to somebody and you don't know what spread to use your instinct. Go by your instinct of which spread you think you should use. It's usually the best bet. Tarot card readings can be wrong. Um, Tarot card readings can be wrong. They can also be very misguided. If a person doesn't ask a question clearly enough to get an answer through the tarot, the question can be, or the answer that the tarot gives can be a little skewed. And if somebody's giving a tarot reading and they are sick, they're hungry, they're not up to 100%, whether this be that they're tired, they're sick, they're hungry, they're thirsty, even if they have cabin fever, the tarot card reading can be misguided or wrong. Tarot is not set in stone. Again, it's only one possible future if you take that advice that it gives. And I know I've said this multiple times, but I personally don't let people touch my tarot, ever, whether I'm doing a reading on them or not. It's very likely that if somebody does touch my tarot outside of a reading, and it's strictly this one deck, I've given people this deck and I've allowed them to touch it most of the time, and I have no issues with that deck. But my primary deck, nobody touches, and it's very likely that if somebody does, they are losing a limb. This is why multiple times during, before I bought my secondary deck and my fiance got his own deck, I would disappear from the chat for an hour or two because I would chase my fiance around after he touched my deck. Because he thought I was joking, apparently. When choosing a deck, you always want to find the deck that calls to you. You don't want to just get a deck because it's pretty or because the artwork is by somebody you like. CSD. Blackhawks. No. Anyways. Just because you like the person that did the art or you think it's best suited for your specific path, that's not how you choose a tarot deck for most people. I do know a few that have chosen it because it's pretty or because it's specific to their path and it's worked for them, but most if people ask me how they should choose a deck, then I tell them that you choose it by what calls to you. The deck that calls to you first would be your primary deck, and any deck you get after that is your secondary deck. I have a secondary deck now, and it's very pretty, and I like it. Hold on a moment, guys. I have a friend coming over to listen to the broadcast as well, and I think she's outside, but she can't figure out which apartment I am. So I'll be right back. I will play some music while that's going on.
And we'll walk the paths where the old ones walk, and we'll dance the dance.
Okay, guys, I'm back. I'm sorry about that. Oh, where'd it go? Can we sit on it? There it is. Okay, guys, sorry for that delay. I also momentarily lost the notes. Which, you all know I'm kind of a scatterbrain, so it works. This is all up to personal preference, but as I said, my primary deck doesn't get touched, whether I'm giving a reading or whether I'm not. My secondary my secondary deck, I do allow people to touch. It has a lot to do with how I got my primary deck, though. But that's me personally. If you guys feel comfortable with people touching your decks, either your primary or your secondary, that's fine, because it's you personally. I do recommend, though, that nobody touches your deck outside of a reading, for the fact that, kind of like how it was with my primary deck, my fiance would touch it, and after so many hours or something after he touched it, that's when I would be able to give it an accurate reading. If I tried after he touched it, like directly after he touched it, I would usually mess up on the reading. It has a lot to do with the transfer of energy, even though most people don't realize it. But I recommend not letting anybody touch your deck outside of a reading. Again, nobody touches my primary deck. They lose limbs. And I know some people on here probably still debate the fact of not relationships. The long distance fact that whether long distance readings work or not. I do believe they do. I've given some people on the chat readings, and I don't know them personally. There's been a few that I've only talked to that one time. I believe they do work, but for me, they are very difficult because I don't have that person's energy next to me to feed off of. For beginners, long distance readings may or may not go well depending on how far along they are in being able to do a reading. Yes, I did, Isis, and then I asked you how it went and you never told me. So those are basically the basics of tarot. Nobody really ever asked this question, but when telling somebody about tarot, you also tell them what it is to you. And personally, to me, it's something I'm good at. It's something I learned growing up, and it's something that runs in my family. I feel through tarot I have a connection with not only my dad and my grandmother, who were with me until I was 13, but also my great-grandmother, who I've never met. Along with that, it also gives me kind of a perspective on the world. Because I know through giving many, many readings over the years, the world's not just black and white, and you can't think in absolutes. And tarot is one of the things that taught me that. I used to be like a lot of these newbie witches that were like, there's only black and white magic, there's no gray. Tarot honestly did teach me that you cannot think in absolutes, because it is such an abstract form of divination, just as runes are. And if you go into a reading thinking everything's black and white, you're not going to be able to read the cards, because they aren't black and white. There is no one outcome. There is no right and wrong. And honestly, it gets me into a mindset of where, yes, after a reading I'm drained, but I'm also happy because I feel like I've been able to help somebody using my gift. And that's what I do consider my ability to read tarot. It's a gift to me. Because I know people that have been trying to read tarot for years and years, and they aren't any good. And I pick up a tarot deck the first time I've ever given a reading, and I was accurate. So it honestly is a gift to me. And if anybody else can read tarot, even if they aren't that accurate, if they have that connection to tarot and they have that connection to their cards, that's a gift. So that's what tarot is to me. Okay. I need this one now. I would lose my mind without notes. Yes, I do have my old notes. Other than that, no, I'm not using notes. Which is probably silly, but you all know how much of a scatterbrained, forgetful person I am. For beginners, one of the greatest things that I can ever give advice about is when you're learning how to use your tarot, your deck. Try reading the book that you get with it. I will show you mine as soon as I get it. This is the book that came with my secondary tarot deck. It has not just the divination meanings, but also the magical uses. And I use tarot for divination. I don't really use it for magic, but it is completely possible that you can. And so, even if I don't know a meaning of a card and I look in the book, it doesn't make me wrong to do so. These books are given to you with these cards to be a guide. It doesn't mean that what this book says is correct, but it does mean that you have something to go on. If you forget a meaning of a card, or if you're not getting something from the cards when you do a reading, yes, Isis, there is tarot magic. But if you forget the meaning of one of the cards, or if you're going to do a ritual and you want to use tarot in it, you can always look in your book. It's not as bad as people usually say it is. I don't personally use the book unless I'm looking for the magical uses, because that's the one thing I don't know. But it doesn't make you a bad tarot reader or a bad person if you look in the book. These are given to you to use for a guideline. So I recommend using them if you don't know. If you're a beginner, these are a great way to start. If you start by reading this and then you start developing your intuition after that with using your tarot, it can be a great help. I honestly did start by reading the book that on my first deck, my Shadowscape deck, and then I developed my own way of reading and my own meanings for the cards. Again, this only gives one meaning for each card. It usually gives the reversed and upright meaning, but that doesn't make it wrong. Also, I recommend for beginners meditating with your decks. It's kind of a long long process, but the way I did it with my primary deck is when I got it. Questions after. Let me finish talking. I might answer your question throughout this. But the way I started with my Shadowscape deck is every other day. So if it was a Monday, I would start Monday and I would take a single card and I would meditate with it. And then on Wednesday, I would do that again, but with a different card. And it helps you get a connection to your deck, not just as a whole, but with every single card. And that really does help develop your intuition as well. Because while you're meditating with your cards, you're also getting the feel for them, and it helps when later on you go to give readings, because you know which cards are which, and from there you can figure out what the meaning is using your intuition. Some of the best readings for beginners are usually, and that's fine, Isis. Like I said, you can meditate with your entire deck, or you can do it card by card. I did it card by card, and then I meditated with the entire deck, but that was me. It really depends on the person. So, sorry guys, my sentence just flew out of my head. It really depends on the person and how connected they are to their deck. If you don't feel like you're connected to your deck at all, then I recommend meditating with one card every 2 weeks, or one card as long as you can, like every other day, every week, every other week, so on and so forth. But some of the best readings that a new tarot reader can do are usually the one card yes or no. There's also another one card reading that helps identify the problem a person's having. And for the more analytically logic people that are like, I don't want to know the future, I don't want to know how this problem plays out, I don't want to know how to solve it. The one cards can also be the problem identifiers, which can help somebody understand what the problem is and how to solve it on their own. There's also the 2-card reading, which is the advice and the possible outcome. There's also a secondary 2-card reading of the problem and the advice. Again, that's for the more analytical straight thinkers of, I don't want to know how to fix it, I just want to know what it is. And then there's the 3-card readings. The 3-card readings can be past, present, future, or it can be the problem and 2 possible outcomes. Usually I don't recommend that beginners start doing 4-card readings until they're comfortable with them, but some of the 4-card readings that a beginner does can be a lot more helpful with learning the cards. The 4-card readings are usually the past, present, and the future, and the advice. And past that, I don't usually recommend anything for a beginner to do until they feel that they are ready and that they are comfortable enough to do it. Okay. So, as I said, there is such a thing as tarot magic. And within that tarot magic, as also within the tarot divination, each card has correspondence. It usually has the number, a path number, It usually has the meaning of, or the Hebrew letter and the printed letter. There's also the directions. There's musical notes. There's so many different correspondence. I'm going to give you guys a little, after the entire broadcast, I will post a link to Witch's Grove that helps to explain the correspondence of the cards a lot more. For right now, I will give you the directional correspondence, and I will show you the new cards that I got while I do it. If I can get the bag open. Okay, right now I am actually looking for the card that I need. There it is. Because it's a lot easier, to me at least, to understand the correspondence as you see the cards that they are related to. So right now I'm going through my deck to swap everything right around so I can get to have more accessibility, or easier accessibility to it. Because of the fact that if it's upside down, I usually can't read it very well. But like I said, I'm doing this because I find it a lot easier to connect what is being talked about, or what I'm trying to understand, with the visual image of what it's connected to. So we're going to go in order of the tarot. This is the Fool. I'm trying to get the glare to go away. This is the Fool in my new deck. This is the Fantasy Creature deck. I like it. The art is very cool, and so far I've been able to do readings with it. This is the Fool. The direction correspondent to the Fool is above to below, so it's a span from what we would think of as the sky to the ground, but it can go farther than that. Find the second card. Probably should have put all these and just put them in order, but I didn't think of that because, well, we know I like to be difficult. Okay, this will make it a lot easier. I just separated my deck by the major and minor cards, so this will make it a lot easier for me to be able to look. The second card in the deck is the Magician. This is the Magician in my new deck. Yes, it is a cat with wings. sorry guys. By the way, I do have to use the book for the legends. The Fool, by the way, is I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that name, but this is what it's spelled. How it's spelled. Okay, that is the name of the Fool card. This card is from Greek legends. It can move in the direction of either head if the two halves hold on to each other, creating a circle which enables it to roll. The two heads are capable of acting independently. The two heads are, although they often think and work together, and as if of one mind. This portrays the fool, who, when faced with choice, often can't make up his mind or decide without enough information. If this card is the first card in the layout, it may indicate that the wrong question is being asked or that the questioner is hesitant in making decision. I just read both the lore and the little paragraph describing this card and why this was picked as the depiction of the fool. I did not read the divination meaning, but this is a creature from Greek legend. It is the Fool. Again, the correspondent of the Fool is above to below. The second card is the Magician. It is a kitty with wings. I'm pretty sure this is one of my favorite cards in this deck, because look at it! The kitty's so cute! And it's got a little wand and a little crystal ball, and it's got books, and so it's basically me. Anyways, this is called the Egyptian Uzit, I think, is how it's pronounced. Sorry guys. It's called the Winged Cat, obviously. I was reading a different one. This is a creature found in many cultures. The winged cat has both positive and negative meanings. Cats are considered to be very psychic creatures, capable of enhancing a magician's power during a ritual, and able to see into the other world. The wings on this magical creature denote its talent for reaching into the spiritual center for power. Through the wand, he channels his needs and desires his will. The crystal ball and the rune stones signify the magician cat's ability to use many forms of divination to see into the past and the future. The dream catcher portrays the magician's ability to communicate with the subconscious mind. So this is not Egyptian. It is actually in multiple different cultures. Kitty. That is the magician of my new deck. The next card is the High Priestess. And a few of you that have studied Egyptian mythology or any type of mythology might actually recognize this one. This is the High Priestess in my new deck. The correspondents to the Magician, by the way, are above. So whatever is the concept of above is whatever is above you. This can be in rank, this can be in hierarchy, this can be literally. There's so many different ways to take that it really depends on the person. So again, this is the High Priestess. It is the Egyptian Uatzit. It is the cobra goddess that appeared on the crown of pharaohs. The upraised cobra appears in various forms: a winged cobra, a crowned cobra, a woman wearing a vulture headdress, and a red crown of northern Egypt. In human form, she holds a papyrus scepter with a long snake twined around it, a goddess of great power and magic, and was closely connected with Ra and the goddess Isis. The scrolls and hieroglyphics represent the hidden spiritual meaning and the ancient magical practices. This is the High Priestess in my new deck. The correspondence to this card are below. So this can be taken literally, or it can be taken in an abstract concept. It can be below you in rank, it can be below you literally. It, again, really just depends on the person. I'm going to go back through these 3 cards again and tell you each of these cards' magic uses. The Fool. This card in a ritual or any type of spell can be used to represent an unpredictable person or an unconventional outcome. While the Magician, the magical uses are, this can be used as a focal point to attract opportunities, and when used with pinnacles for prosperity and new opportunities. The High Priestess's magic use is used to represent not only the goddess that's depicted on it, but also the connection between the gods. It can be used on an altar or during meditation. It can help you seek your spiritual path or see into your future. It can be used in protection spells, particularly for major changes. My book just jumped at me. Okay. Why is that upside down? I just had that next card. The next card is the number 3 card. It is the Empress. This is the Empress in my new deck. It is, the picture depicted on it is of the Morrigan. This is a Celtic goddess. She is the triple goddess capable of appearing as the Maiden Mother Crone. So, me, Lorelai, are Wondershins. Most of you probably don't get that joke, but whatever. As the fertile creative mother, she was called the Moon Goddess or the Queen of Fairies. The raven above her is a reminder that although Morrigan begins all life and its cycle, she also holds the power to end them. The natural scene on this card tells us, too, that we are a part of everything living. The spirals on each card represent the eternal cycles of life, and each person experiences and are reminders of the spiritual path that draws the seeker to the center where all true knowledge can be found. Okay. So this is the Morrigan. It is a Celtic goddess depiction of the Empress. This card's corresponding direction is east. So usually anything that goes with east can be used with this card. The magical uses, it can be used in spells to attract love and harmony. Also for pregnancy and childbirth. This card can also symbolize air. If somebody sets up an altar, because this card's corresponding direction is east, this card can also be placed in the east as a token of air. The next card is the one on top. This is the Emperor. This is number 4. This card depicts a Pegasus, which we all know is Greek. If you haven't seen the movie Hercules by Disney, I definitely recommend it. It is not accurate, but it is very cute and funny. There's a Pegasus in that movie, and it likes to noggin people. But as far as this card, the Pegasus held a position of high respect and power. His strong inspirational and psychic abilities are reflected in the canyon rocks. His great physical strength is balanced by his powerful spiritual wings that can take him directly to Olympus. Pegasus are considered wise, graceful, gentle, and so pure that all of the Olympian deities loved him. The Muses, goddess of inspiration, worked on with the Pegasus to bring ideas, inventions, and creativity to humans. So, this is basically everything I am not. We all know I am not graceful. Definitely not gentle, because if I was, I would not be running into doors and stuff the way I do. The magical uses for this card, it can be used with the Empress or the World or other cards that symbolize what you want to manifest. If you use this card with the Emperor, be certain all actions adhere to the letter of the law. The correspondent for this card directionally is southeast. I am directionally challenged, so I'm not sure where that is, but that's the direction. The next card is but it's cute. You have to admit that. Okay. It's silly and it's fun, but it's also made for kids, kind of. This is the next card. This is the High Priestess. This is the Runic, I believe is what it's called. It's an Arabian. It was made familiar through the Arabian Nights and also Sinbad the Voyager. Not the movie, the book. The gigantic bird was so huge when it flew, its wings blotted out the sun and created terrifying storms. Some tales say that the Runics nested on remote islands where stranded merchants found diamonds in the treacherous rock valleys. Only the most reckless men dared to make the voyage for diamonds, and many of them never returned. The Runic represents the High Priest. Yeah. Sorry, I had to make sure I had the correct card. The teacher of universal laws. If you abide by these spiritual laws, you are not likely to put yourself on a foolhardy path that can lead you astray from your goals. The Karen stones symbolize the true path each of us must seek. The runic writings is knowledge gained along the way. The correspondence for this card is southeast. Again, I have no idea where that is because, well, I'm directionally challenged. The magical uses for this card is this card's very useful when working out karma. However, be prepared for harsh conditions if you do not follow through with the intentions. Oh, my nose. The next card is this one. This is the Lovers. That is a fawn and a human. Just in case you guys couldn't see. Though people often confuse fawns with aggressive satyrs, the two types of creatures are not alike at all in temperament. The gentle fawns were companions and followers of the forest goddess Faunus. Jesus. Whose consort was the goddess Fauna. The fawn was described as having the body and face of a young man, but the legs, tail, and ears of a deer. The fawn loved to play their flutes and their nightly moonlight revels. Their gentleness excited female humans to dance with them. When the human and fawns fell in love, such relationships were difficult. Such choices involved consequences and required strength of conviction. On the stone in front of the fawn and his woman are hearts and the spiral of rebirth. Relationships come into our lives over and over until we satisfy karmic debts. True lovers grow together, their bonds becoming stronger until they join in one life spark. So this is a fawn, not a satyr, as I stated. Let's see. You can't probably see it, but the hearts and the spiral are right there, kind of next to my finger. The magical uses for this card is it can be used to seek knowledge when faced with difficult decisions. The correspondent to this card, directionally, is east above. Okay. So anything that is in the east and above, again, metaphorically or physically, can be corresponded with this card. The next card I needed was right on top. This is the Chariot. A very pretty card, if I must say so myself. The depiction on this card is centaurs. Centaurs are pictured by ancient Greeks as having the upper body, head, and arms of a human and the lower body and legs of a stallion. One branch of centaurs were aggressive, wild, lecherous, and loved to cause chaos, and the others were skilled wizards and shapeshifters who used their ancient healing wisdoms and teachings to help humans. The two types of centaur on this card remind us that we must control and balance both aspects of our physical and spiritual nature. Only when both sides are in harmony can they control the chariot and remain as one. Or remain on course. Wow. This card is used to gain self-confidence if you do a ritual or a spell or a circle. This card can be used for self-confidence. The correspondent with this card is east below. So anything in the east, because I don't know which direction that is, and either physically or metaphorically below. Ah, Amira, you're pinging me. The next card is Strength. This card is usually depicted as a lion. That is not so in my new deck. This is the Strength card. This is an Oriental dragon. Oriental dragons were considered to be very wise and powerful, remote, but beneficial helpers of humankind, and are adept at healing, divination, and magic. Divided into 4 classes, each with a distinct function. All Oriental dragons are capable of shapeshifting. A dragon's color indicates its age. The ancient golden dragon on this card indicates superiority over intense events, symbolized by the sea. In swimming path protects the castle, which represents steadfast goals and well-being. The turtle represents good health and longevity. By using the dragon's patience and persistence, a human who faces opposition can hold steady and win. The magical use for this card is to call upon inner strength and endurance. This card is obviously Asian. It doesn't really say what type, but the correspondent directionally with this card is north above. So again, anything in the north that is metaphorically or physically above you. Wow. The next card is the Hermit card. This is the Old Lady of the Elder. Described as an elderly, wrinkled woman, the Old Lady of the Elder is usually seen during a full moon as she hobbles about, balancing herself with a staff made of a gnarled elder branch. She is considered to be very wise in healing and magic. The Old Lady of the Elder is a solitary creature using the silent, reflective time to spiritually strengthen herself. She quietly shares her knowledge with those open to her gentle teachings. The magical uses for this card are that it can be used in a spell to add patience when searching for knowledge to make the correct decision. It is also good to include in healing spells because of the fact that it is also corresponded with the Elder Tree, and most of the Elder Trees do correspond with healing. Allergies. The directional correspondent to this card is north below. So again, anything in the north that is metaphorically or physically below you. The next card is the Wheel of Fortune. And again, many of you who study Egyptian mythology might know this card. It is number 10. It is the Sphinx. The largest of the Egyptian sphinxes crouches not far from the Great Pyramids. The Sphinx was built over sacred subterranean chambers where initiates underwent trials and initiations. The cobra that once adorned its head and its beard were broken off in the distant past. The ibis bird, that bird right there, symbolizes the soul and messages from the Sphinx. This bird was closely connected with the god Thoth. Somebody else can say that better than I can. Who was scribe to the gods and the master of all knowledge and mysteries. Between the paws of the Sphinx is the... I know what it is, but I can't say it. This. Anka? Something like that. An Egyptian symbol of eternal life. Below the Anka is the Eye of Horus, a protection against evil, and the hairbringer of good fortune. The Eye of Horus is right there. The magical uses for this card is it can be used in spells and meditation for changing your luck. The directional correspondent with this card is west. So this card can also correspond with water. If you have an altar or you're doing a spell, you can place this card in the west and you can symbolize water with it. The next card is Justice. And many of you might know these little dragon thingies. They're not actually dragons or anything to do with dragons. They are called lion dogs. Statues of ancient Chinese lion dogs, or fu dogs, were placed by temple doors as guardians. The statues are thought to come alive at night to make their protective rounds of the building that they guard. The male lion dog are always portrayed with ball under one foot, symbolizing the balance of opposites, while the females have a rolled up puppy under one foot. Also known as demon catchers, these beings are said to be capable of hunting down and driving away evil spirits and troublesome energies. The Chinese believe that all evil begins as small ones, which grow and gain power when ignored. The lion dogs are capable of catching and destroying all evils before they spread, as symbolized by the ice in the Justice card. This card represents their ability to protect, right wrongs, and maintain justice. This card can be used in a spell or a ritual as a protection card. The Justice card's corresponding direction is northwest, which I don't know where northwest is. The next card is the Hanged Man. This is Medusa. As a beautiful priestess at the temple of Athena, Medusa was seduced by Poseidon, thus profaning her religious position and the temple itself. As punishment, Athena changed Medusa into a terrible creature with snake scales, hair of writhing venomous snakes, a protruding tongue, and a deadly gaze that turned humans to stone. In this card, Medusa sits along a path bordered with large rocks. The spiral at her feet anchors any forward movement. The spiral on the rocks are half-formed, presenting no clear patterns to follow, but many possibilities. Medusa's stare has frozen all abilities to see what needs to be done to break the impasse. One must wait, endure, and learn patience. This spell can be used in spells where you need to freeze someone's actions. It does not mean literally. The correspondent of this card is east to west, so it's that portion of a circle that can be signified with this card. The next card is Death. This is Anasazi. In West African folklore, Anasazi, the spider god, was a trickster and creative deity, possessing powerful charms and magic. In the beginning, he spun the world into existence. He now forces people to learn new ways by tricking them into positions where there is no choice but to make the major changes. We are held fast into his web of illusion until we face the reality of what we must do with our lives. The serpent symbolizes nature's extreme abilities of destruction and healing, dying and rebirth. Droplets of inspiration and spirituality, spiritual knowledge fall all around the snake and Anasazi. All we need to do is lift our faces, hands, and hearts to this guidance, and it will soak into our very souls. The magic uses for the Death card is to strip away illusions and reveal the truth. The correspondent of the Death card is Southwest, which again, I don't know where it is because I'm directionally challenged. This is the next card. Very pretty, yes, I know. This is Temperance. For those of you who know, this is the Fantastical Creature Tarot deck, Isis. That is the deck that I'm talking about now. But this is Temperance. It is depicted as the Lady of the Lake. In the tales of King Arthur, the Lady of the Lake embodies the aspect of the goddess associated with the earth, nature, and the emotions that kept us moving forward on our life path. She offers spiritual initiation when we reach the state of inner harmony and balance. The twisting patterns on this card represent how different human lives touch, intermingle, and move on through cycles. The sword in her right hand illustrates the goddess's power to bestow lofty spiritual positions such as priest or priestesses upon humans. Her psychic and spiritual messages, seen here as birds, prepare us for traveling our life path. The magical uses of this card are to correct imbalances in relationships and to resolve quarrels and conflicts. This is Temperance. It is the 15th card. The correspondent of this card directionally is west above. So again, physically, metaphorically, however you want to take it. I picked these up upside down. Okay, so the next card is a little different, as well as the 5th card. Where the 5th card in a normal deck or rider deck would be the Hermit, it was the High Priest in my deck. Where the Devil is supposed to be It is called Chains in my deck. So this is Chains. This is Fenrir. In Norse mythology, it represents the devil. According to Norse mythology, Fenrir Wolf was once the monster child of the trickster god Loki. Fenrir grew to be so dangerous he had to be restrained in magical chains. Yet the giant wolf easily escaped. The god took Fenrir to the island of Levi in the middle of the lake, where he was fastened to a great rock. Legend says Fenrir will stay there until the end of the world, Ragnarok. This card invokes the harsh, bleak feeling when there seems to be no way out of a bad situation. However, Fenrir holds the key, in the form of a sword, to release in his mouth. Applied in the right places, the sharpened edge of the weapon can shatter the chains. If you examine all options, there is always a way to escape your captivity. The magical uses of this card is to eliminate negative personality traits and weaknesses. It is also used to eliminate illusions that can be clouding someone's true nature. So this is technically the Devil card. I really like this card because I was actually really into Norse mythology. I actually have a friend also who is nicknamed Finn, short for Fenrir. The directional correspondent to this card is west below. So anything in the west, metaphorically, physically below. The next card, actually I missed a card. So the next card is actually in my hand. This is the Tower card. The Tower card is portrayed as the Kraken. Release the Kraken! Had to do it. Ancient seafarers feared the dreaded Kraken, believed to be so powerful that it could crush a ship with its tentacles. In the early days of sailing, voyagers watched carefully whenever they were becalmed. Unusual boiling water around them signaled the Kraken's rise to the surface. The Kraken represents the dreaded, unexpected misfortune that seems to come without warning when we become complacent. With tumultuous, that word, disaster strikes, we live in a state of chaos and shock as our tower crumbles around us. We need to pay attention to all the warning signs and be prepared for change. The magical use for this card is to bring the future to light and to reveal necessary changes before they reach a critical stage. So, again, this is the Kraken. And yes, I just totally commented from a book. I had to make sure this was the right card. The directional correspondent to the Tower card is north. Again, I'm directional challenged. I have no idea where north actually is. Again, please wait till the end of the broadcast because I may actually answer your question during it. The next card is the Star. This is a Firebird. Russian Tales of Magical Firebird describes the brilliant hued bird with tail feathers much like that of a peacock. Its lifespan is very long and it's extremely wise and psychic. The Firebird doesn't directly aid humans, but its knowledge shares its knowledge so people may learn to do things for themselves. A number of important symbols relating to the Firebird's power are prominent in the Star card. Apples of death and rebirth move upward with the feathers of reincarnation to create a spiral of constantly moving energy. These symbols allude not only to afterlives but to the cycles of change that occur within each life. The skull often offers a potent reminder that the soul does not die when we give up the physical body. The nearby key indicates the skull's key role with the Firebird and its connection to the spirituality, magic, and the mysteries of the universe. This card can be used magically for removing opposition to your goals. Also can be used in spells for gaining self-confidence, knowledge, helpful in career building, to start a new business, or to increase success in an old one. So again, this is the star card. The star card's corresponding direction is south above. So anything south and metaphorically and physically above. But I skipped a card. The next card is the moon. Obviously, it's a pretty unicorn. The fabulous unicorn is often depicted with the head and body of a horse, the whiskers of a goat, the tail of a lion, and the white spiral horn in the center of its forehead. Traditions say that the horn provides an antidote for poisons and could restore good health to anyone who drank from one. However, the swiftness of the solitary creature made it impossible to catch. The moon reflects the waxing and the waning of cycles in life, the initiations into the inner spiral mysteries. The owl, an emblem of wisdom, can see through the concealing shadows to the truth. The magical use for this card is it can be used in spells to reveal the truth or to access and develop psychic powers. This is again the moon, and the corresponding direction is south below. Sorry about that, guys. Hello, Zach. You're a little late. This is the next card. This is the sun. It's represented by a winged lion. Images of the winged lion show creatures with curly manes and huge feathered wings on their back. In some cases, the winged lion was transformed into the winged sun disk. In ancient Egypt, the winged lion was associated with the goddess Sekhmet, who hunted down and destroyed injustice, and who wore the sun disk as a crown. The lion has always been a symbol of the sun and its light. Here in the wings represent spiritual enlightenment as a special quality attained when seeking the light. The mountain is also an important symbol of the world axis, the center of all, and the hidden spiritual center within each person. Each person must ascend to this inner mountain to discover a gateway to the realm of spirit. The magical use for this card is it can be used in the center as a center card for success, with the surrounding cards clarifying what kind of success you are seeking. Again, this is the sun card, and the corresponding direction is south. The next card is Judgment. These are not Oriental dragons. This is the Eastern and Western dragon. Most ancient cultures around the world have stories of dragons in one shape or another. European dragons are depicted with heavy scaled bodies and wings. Those with two legs were referred to as wyverns. In ancient China, dragons were depicted with 4 legs, a long serpent body and tail, with a varying number of claws. They could be a few feet long or 1,000 feet long. In the Great Qin Tang, In Chinese tradition, most classes of dragons were benevolent towards humans, and a full initiate in higher mysteries of many cultures was referred to as a dragon. On this card, the Western and Eastern dragons together symbolize a balance of physical and emotional energies needed to create spiritual justice. The Eastern dragon holds a ball of brilliant spiritual light under one foot. and it is crouched near the lake. The western dragon holds tight to its primordial powers and earthly stones. This card can be used in guided meditations for making decisions. The correspondent with this card is north to south. The last card is the world. This is the rainbow serpent. Much like the story that Wendershin told us last night of the rainbow crow. According to legend, this enormous reptile is closely connected with Rainbow's creation, initiation, and rainmaking. Initially, the rainbow serpent had the task of creating creeks, rivers, and lakes so the people and animals could have water. Later, this creature also created sacred places in the land. On this world card, the land animals and water creatures represent the opposites of existence, which lead to spiritual initiations or ritual deaths and rebirths. Through this combination, everything is manifested in the universe, whether physically, mentally, or otherworldly. Spiritual seekers can follow the rainbow serpent's path, and if they open their inner eyes to the world around them. The magical uses are in meditation. When faced with several choices, this card's power is also helpful when making personal changes to your life. The direction corresponding with this is the central point. Those are the correspondence for the major arcane cards. There aren't really any that I found for the minor, so we're not going to do those. Specific information can be also can be obtained when you're playing or doing a tarot reading. The way I obtain specific information is by using the correspondence. I also go largely off of my intuition, but normally I don't try to seek specific information. My pencil kept attacking me, by the way. So that was not me being weird. That was my pencil attacking me. So, like I said, I do rely a lot on my own intuition and the correspondence of the cards. When developing your intuition, it's very good to do meditations, especially meditations with your cards or a specific set of like the major or minor cards in a tarot deck. But also using your intuition develops it. Everybody inherently, I believe, has that intuition within them. They just choose whether or not to pay attention to it. Many people choose to ignore it, and others choose to go by it. Those that choose not to ignore that intuition within them are able to develop it a lot more than those that ignore it. Okay guys, so I'm going to take a break for a while, get your cigarettes if you got them, or if you smoke, go use the bathroom, get food, get coffee, do whatever you need to do. I will be back in a few minutes.
They taught us and the songs that the old ones sang, for the magic now has caught It's in the forest where the wild wolf hides. She waits for the pull of the new spring tides, and the call of the young horned man. She'll lie and mate with the rhythm of the land and and we'll sing the songs that the old ones sang. All the magic now has caught us.
See all the brown?
And it came out. How did that happen?
From the hidden world music seeps, and with the sunlight crosses over, the soft voice from memory speaks of another life. Figures moving just out of sight. In the shadows you can't quite catch it. Moving through the dappled light stands the haunted man. He's watching you, he'll follow you. He's taken time from the greenwood. You'll hear his tune, it's on the wind. It's the pipes of Pan. And from the barrel mounds, from dark secret places, where salmon wisdom dreams and rivers golden deep. Beyond the hidden world, spirit storm is passing, and walks on clover roads to where the old gods sleep. Recall the tune, you have the key. He'll lead the dance to the green man. With secret words, he'll take you there on the pipes of Pan. And with the sunlight crosses over, the soft voice from memory speaks of another life. Beyond the hidden world, spirit star is passing, and walks on cloven wings to where the old gods sleep. He's watching you, he'll follow you. He's taken time from the greenwood. You'll hear his tune, it's on the wind. It's the pipes of Pan. Recall the tune, you have the key. He'll lead the dance to the green man. With secret words, he'll take you there. It's the old god Pan.
Said that he still has love for her, but he's not in love with her anymore. A lot of people say that that's why me and him seem to get along, like we click so well, because I just don't get pissed off. I don't care.
We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return, like a drop of rain, flowing to the ocean. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return, like a drop of rain, flowing to the ocean. was
it's
in
over
the
here.
middle, circled near an old train. At the times appointed by the seasons of the earth and the phases of the moon.
It's like Tetris.
In the center often stood a woman,
Back on my head.
equal with the others and respected for her worth. One of the many we call the witches, the healers.
I don't really get drunk anymore now. Since I've been with phones. Yeah, I remember that.
I mean, I do drink a little bit, but
You don't get drunk.
I don't really like drinking.
Like beer every now and then or something like that.
I don't beer much. Yep.
Between the walls we stand, the words unspoken, circles cast and it can't be broken. Calling the power from each direction, we'll soon be dancing in the arms of the night. We've a circle cradled in crystal, lady of the silver wheel I see rising. And with the moontide we'll greet the night bride beneath the big sky, bathed in her light. Rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, old mother moon, will you rise? Rise up, like the skies up, rise up, old mother moon, will you rise? Flying dark wings from the east, whisper night wind, your breath is so sweet, the energy and flame of desire from the north, send us fire from the west, bring us water, the cool wind from the river god's daughter, and the pulse of the great southland, hail to you earth where we stand. Rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, old mother moon, will you rise? Rise up, like the skies up, rise up, old mother moon, will you rise? Rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, old mother moon, will you rise? Rise up, like the skies up, rise up, old mother moon, will you rise? Shimmer through the dark sky, fly through the night. You show us why your secrets lie dressed in the stars. You wear a silver gown, invoke the goddess and we'll draw the magic down. Rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, old mother moon, will you rise? Rise up, like the skies up, rise up, old mother moon, will you rise? Rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, old mother moon, will you rise? Rise up, like the skies up, rise up, old mother moon, will you rise? Rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, old mother moon, will you rise? Rise up, like the skies up, rise up, old mother moon, will you rise? rise up, 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 old Mother Moon, will you rise? Rise up, like the skies up, rise up, old Mother Moon, will you rise? Rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, old Mother Moon, will you rise? Rise up, like the skies up, rise up, old Mother Moon, will you rise? Rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, old Mother Moon, will you rise? Rise up, like the skies up, rise up, old Mother Moon, will you rise? Rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, old Mother Moon, will you rise? Rise up, like the skies up, rise up, old Mother Moon, will you rise? Rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, old Mother Moon, will you rise? Rise up, like the skies up, rise up, old Mother Moon, will you rise? Rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, old Mother Moon, will you rise? Rise up, like the skies up, rise up, old Mother Moon, will you rise? Between the walls we stand, the fields we spoken, circles cast and it can't be broken. All in the power of each direction, listen be dancing in the arms of the night. Weave a circle, rainbows in crystal, lady of the silver wheel, I see you rising. And with the moontide, we'll break the night bride, beneath the big sky, bathed in her light. Rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, old Mother Moon, will you rise? Rise up, like the skies up, rise up, old Mother Moon, will you rise? Rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, old Mother Moon, will you rise? Rise up, like the skies up, rise up, old Mother Moon, will you rise?
I am back. Okay. So, along with being able to read with a spread, there is also the ability to read without a spread. You don't have to have a particular spread to be able to read cards. Spreads are more like guides to be able to read. A lot of the times I just put out a few cards and I read them as is. I don't have anything connected to them, such as past, present, or future. It's just about the question. It's a lot more detailed usually when you read without a spread, but it's also a little bit harder to explain because people are always asking past, present, future, stuff like that. And without a spread, you don't actually have that. Okay, so the next thing is how to set up a reading step by step. First, you want to ask, if somebody doesn't ask you for a reading, you want to ask them if you have permission to give them a reading. And then you want, for me, because this is personalized towards the way I read, I, again, don't let people really touch my cards, because I do use my primary deck for most readings. I have them think of the question, and then I have them envision a ball of energy behind it pushing the question into the cards. After that, I start shuffling, and from there, I usually get the feeling of when to stop. After I get that feeling of when to stop, I lay out the cards as they are, and then I do my reading. The way I do readings is a lot different from most people. I feel um, what's connected to the cards, and it just basically translates from feelings to words. A lot of times, if I give like online reading, I do have to, if they ask for clarification, I have to go back and reread what I said because I'm not completely sure. I have no knowledge really of what I type or what I say, so people usually have to remind me after I get done if they want clarification. This is the part where I will take questions, guys. If you have questions, let me know. If not, I will continue. Ew. If you don't feel comfortable asking the question in the main during the broadcast, you can PM me after the broadcast is over, and from there I can answer your question. Okay, so at this point I'm going to turn the camera off and I'm going to read you guys 2 stories from my book. The first story is a Shinya story. It's on audio, dear. It's called The Great Medicine Dance. The Sun Dance was the most important, solemn, and awe-inspiring ritual of prairie tribes west of the Mississippi. Sundance is its name in Sioux. The Shenya called it the New Life Lodge, while the Ponca, it was the Mystery Dance. Closely related to the Sun Dance was the Okapi ceremony of the Mandans. The dance took place once a year at the height of summer. It lasted for 4 days, longer if the elaborate preparations are taken into account. In some tribes, such as the Sioux, the ritual involved the piercing of the dancers, the passing of sharpened skewers through the flesh of their chest, and the performance of other kinds of self-torture. This is still a custom during the Sioux Sundance today. In other tribes, the ritual involved fasting and looking at the sun throughout the long 4 days. The most extreme form of self-torture occurring during the Okapi ceremony of the Mandans, painted in great deal by Caitlin in the 1830s, dancers suffered. They gave their flesh so that the people might live. They underwent piercing in obedience to a vow, or to help the sick relative recover, or to bring a beloved son back unhurt from the warpath. The dance was a celebration of the renewal of all life, to make the grass grow and the buffalo and the people increase and thrive. It was one occasion where all the small hunting bands of a tribe came together, a time for old friends to talk and young men to find wives. The Shenya people have danced the Great Medicine Dance for a long time, longer than anyone can remember or even imagine. The dance represents the making of this universe, and was conceived and taught to the people by the Creator, Nehoa, and his helper, Great Roaring Thunder. It portrays the making of the sun, moon, and stars, of rain and wind and snow, of Grandmother Earth and the blue sky above her, of the mountains and rivers, of all living things, big and small. The dance is performed especially in times of starvation, distress, and widespread death. This, our most sacred ceremony, was brought to us by Sutai medicine man, horns standing up. under the guidance of the Creator himself. Long ago, when the earth and the people dwelling upon it were young, our tribe was starving. The earth itself was starving, for no rain was falling. Plants and trees wilted, many rivers dried up, the animals were dying of hunger and thirst. The Shenya had nothing to eat except for some old dried corn and their dogs, which used to carry their packs in those days, before we had houses. There are not many dogs remaining and very little corn, so the people left their old hunting grounds, left the land which had nourished them for generations, and started off in search of food. They went north where the drought was less severe, but found little game and no buffalo at all. One evening they came to a stream in which water still flowed. The leaders and old chiefs sat down beside the stream and sadly watched the thin, weary people pitching their teepees. Then it came to the chiefs as a vision what ought to be done. They ordered all the men go to the women, each man to the woman he felt most attracted to, and begged her to give him something to eat. The men did as they had been directed, and each chose a woman who was to feed him. Among the warriors was a young medicine man. He went up to a beautiful woman who had happened to be the wife of the head chief. She set a bowl of dog soup before him and waited for him to finish eating. Then he said, I have chosen you among women to help me save our people. I want you to go north with me, as the medicine spirits have commanded. Take your dog teams. Bring supplies for a long journey now, right away. Though she was the chief's wife, the woman did as what the medicine man had asked. She was ready to travel in no time, and the two left unobserved in the dark of night. 2 days and 1 night they traveled without stopping, urging on the dogs who carried the travois with the teepee poles and hides and other things needed for survival. At last they rested. The man told the woman to put up the lodge and to prepare 2 soft beds of soft, fragrant sage for them to sleep on. He said, make the teepee face the rising sun. He told her that Maho, the Creator, had sent him a vision revealing that the 2 of them must go north and bring back the great medicine lodge, Maho, symbol of the universe, and with a sacred ceremony which they would teach to the Shenya. In my vision, he said, Maho promised that if the people accepted and performed this holy ritual, the rains will fall again and the earth rejoice. The plants will bring forth green leaves and fruit, and the buffalo will return. As they traveled, the woman every evening pitching the teepee facing east and preparing the beds of sage on opposite sides of the teepee. The man sleeping in his bed, the woman on hers. One night he said, How is this? You made me run. One night she said, How is this? You made me run away with you, but never approached me as a man approaches a woman. Why did you make me go with you then? He answered, We must abstain from embracing until we enter the great mountain of the north and receive the sacred medicine dance. After we emerge from the mountain, I shall embrace you in a renewal of life ceremony, by which people will continue to be born generation after generation, through the woman power of perpetuation. At last they came to a vast dark forest, from whose center rose a cloud-wreathed mountain, reaching far into the sky. Beyond the mountain they saw a lake of unending waters. They came to a large rock at the foot of the mountain, rolled the rock aside, and discovered an entrance. They went inside the mountain, and closing the opening behind them, found themselves in the mountain's great medicine lodge, which was wonderful to behold. Today the medicine teepee which the Shenya put up for their sun dance at Baird Butte is an imitation of that sacred mountain lodge. The young man and the woman heard voices coming out of the mountain, the voices of Maho, the Creator, and his helper, great roaring thunder, instructing them in the holy ways to perform the sacred ceremonies. Maho spoke for 4 days, and when they had learned all there was to know about the dance, the Creator said, Now you will leave and teach the people what I have taught you. And if they perform the ceremonies in the right way, they will be favored for generations to come. The sun, the moon, the stars will move again in harmony. Roaring thunder will bring soothing rain and winds. Corn and choke cherries will ripen again. Wild turnips and healing herbs will grow once more. All the animals will emerge from behind this mountain, herds of buffalo and antelope among them, and follow you back to your village and your people. This is the sacred hat, Iswe Woon, and wear it whenever you perform the sun dance. With Iswe Woon, you will control the animals, the buffalo, the antelope, the elk, the deer, who give themselves to the people for food. The Shenya shall never be hungry again, and live in plenty. Put on this sacred buffalo hat as you leave, and Grandmother Earth will smile upon you forever. And so the young medicine man of the Sutai and the good-looking woman left the mountain through the sacred passage. As they rolled the rock aside and emerged, buffalo without numbers streamed out of the mountain behind them, and the earth brought forth green shoots. Herbs and plants sprouted under their gentle rain, and the earth was like new, glistening in freshness. Thus the man and the woman walked sacredly, clad in buffalo robes painted red, and the medicine man wore his horned cap. Their dogs walked before them, dragging their travois poles, while behind them followed a thundering herd of buffalo, and after these came all manner of animals, male and female, big and small. At the day's end, the man and woman put up their teepee and lay down on their beds of sage to rest, and all the animals settled down to rest also. At some time during this journey back to the village, the man and woman did lovingly what was necessary to ensure renewal and continuation of life through woman power. Each morning during their travels, the man sang the sacred song which the voice of Maho had taught him. At last one evening they arrived near the stream where the people still camped, awaiting their return. The medicine man and the woman did not go into the village at once, but spent the night outside. In the morning the medicine man put on the isawun and entered the camp, accompanied by the woman. He told the people of all that had passed, and told them that he had brought them the knowledge of the great medicine lodge, and the great sacred dance, the songs and ceremonies that went with it, and above all, Iswoon, the sacred buffalo hat, which had the power to control the wandering of animals. He told the people that if they performed the sun dance, they would have plenty of buffalo to eat and would never suffer again. The people put up the medicine lodge according to the young man's instructions, painted their bodies in a sacred manner, and sang the right songs. The children made clay figures of buffalo, antelope, and elk, and brought them into the lodge as a symbol of life's renewal. Since then, whenever these figures are placed inside the medicine lodge during the dance, some of those animals will come near to gaze upon the sacred teepee, and some of their animal power still linger on. In the same way, our old friends, the Sioux people, fasten the figures of a man and a bison, both cut from buffalo hide, to their sacred Sundance pole. Then an eagle will come and circle above the dancers to bless them. Thus the Shenya people performed the great medicine ceremony for the first time, and all was well again. And the people named the young medicine man, horn standing up, because the sacred hat has 2 horns on each side. This was told by Josie Limpy and Mr. Medicine Bull with the help of an interpreter in 1972. This is the second portion. Some say horn standing up did not touch the beautiful woman until well after the sun dance was finished, and from this belief comes the custom that men refrain from having relations with women from the time of making the vow to dance until after the ceremony is over. Josie Limpy was an old chain-smoking lady belonging to the Sutan division of the Shenya tribe. She was at the time keeper of Iswuna, the sacred buffalo hat, and at the Northern Shenya reservation. The story has actually related inside the teepee in which Iswuna was kept. The next story that I'm going to read you is from the Kawitu tribe. It's Wakashi and the first totem pole. Totem poles of the Northwest Coast tribe were actually from family crests rather than religious icons, denoting the owner's legendary descent from an animal such as a bear, raven, wolf, salmon, or killer whale. Coming into the village, a stranger would first look for a house with a totem pole of his own clan animal. Its owner was sure to receive him as a friend and offer him food and shelter. Totem poles also preserved ancient customs by making sure that every region within visiting distance of others, the old stories were repeated, and the old beliefs about the spirits, the origins of fire, and other myths were basically the same despite linguistic differences and between main tribal groups. Wakashi was a chief named after the river Wakashi because he was open-handed and flowing with gifts, even as the river flowed with fish. It happened once that the whole tribe was having a dance. Wakashi had never created a dance of his own, and he was so unhappy because the other chiefs had fine dances. So he thought, will go up to the mountains to fast, and perhaps a dance will come to me. Wakashi made himself ready and went to the mountains, where he stayed fasting and bathing for 4 days. Early in the mornings of the 4th day, he grew so weary that he laid upon his back and fell asleep. Then he felt something on his breast that woke him to see a little green frog. Lie still, the frog said, because you are on the back of a raven who is going to fly you and me around the world. Then you can see what you want and take it. The raven began to beat its wings, and they flew for 4 days, during which Wakashi saw many things. When they were on their way back, he spotted a house with a beautiful totem pole in front, and heard the sounds of singing inside the house. Thinking that they were fine things, he wished he could take them home. The frog, who knew his thoughts, told the raven to stop. As the bird coasted to the ground, the frog advised the chief to hide behind the door of the house. Stay there until they begin to dance, the frog said, then leap out into the room. The people tried to begin a dance, but could do nothing, neither dance nor sing. One of them said, "Something's the matter. There must be something near us that will make us feel like this." And the chief said, "Let one of us who can run fastest through the flames of the fire rush around the house and find what it is." So the little mouse said that she would go, for she could creep anywhere, even into a box, and if anyone were hiding, she would find him. The mouse had taken off her mouse skin clothes and was presently appearing in the form of a woman. Indeed, all the people in the house were animals who looked like humans, because they had taken off their animal skin clothes to dance. When the mouse ran around, Wakashi caught her and said, "Ha, my friend, I have a gift for you." He gave her a piece of the mountain goat's fat. The mouse was so pleased with Wakashi that she began talking to him. "What do you want?" she asked eventually. Wakashi said he wanted the totem pole, the house, and the dances and songs that belonged to them. The mouse said, "Stay here. Wait till I come again." Wakashi stayed, and the mouse went in and told the dancers, "I have been everywhere to see if there's a man around, but I could not find anybody." And the chief looked like a man, but was really a beaver, said, "Let's try again to dance." They tried 3 times, but could not do anything, and each time they sent the mouse to search. But each time the mouse only chatted with Wakashi and returned to report that no one was there. The 3rd time she was sent out, she said to him, "Get ready, and when they begin to dance, leap into the room." The mouse told the animals again that no one was there. They began to dance. Then Wakashi sprang in, and at once they all dropped their heads in shame, because a man had seen them looking like men, whereas they were really animals. The dancers stood silent until at last the mouse said, "Let's not waste time. Let's ask our friend what he wants." So they all lifted their heads, and the chief asked the man what he wanted. Wakashi thought that he would like to have the dance. because he had never had one of his own. Also, he thought he would like to have the house and the totem pole that he had seen outside. Though the man did not speak, the mouse divined his thoughts and told the dancers, and the chief said, "Let our friend sit down. We'll show him how we dance, and he can pick out whatever dance he wants." So they began to dance, and when they had ended, the chief asked Wakashi what kind of dance he would like. The dancers had begun using all sorts of masks. Most of all, Wakashi's wanted the echo mask, and the mask of the little man, who goes about the house talking, and trying to quarrel with others. Wakashi only formed his wishes in his mind, and the mouse told them to the chief. So the animals taught Wakashi all their dances, and the chief told him that he might take as many dances and masks as he wished, as well as the house and the totem pole. The beaver chief promised Wakashi that these things would all go with him when he returned home, and that he could use them in one dance. The chief also gave him his own name of the totem pole, Kalakuya Wish, meaning sky pole, because the pole was so tall. So the chief took the house and folded it up in a tiny bundle. He put it into the headdress of one of the dancers and gave it to Wakashi, saying, "When you reach home, throw down this bundle. The house will become as it was when you first saw it, and then you can give a dance." Wakashi went back to the raven, and the raven flew away with him towards the mountain from which they had set out. Before they arrived, Wakashi fell asleep, and when he woke, the raven and the frog were gone, and he was alone. It was night by the time Wakashi arrived home. He threw down the bundle and was in the headdress. And there was the house with its totem pole. The whale painted on the house was blowing, and the animals carved on the totem pole were making their noises, and all the masks inside the house were talking and crying aloud. At once, Wakashi's people woke up and came out to see what was happening, and Wakashi found that instead of 4 days, he had been away for 4 years. They all went into the new house, and Wakashi began to make a dance. He taught the people the songs, and they sang while Wakashi danced. Then the echo came, and whoever made a noise, the echo made the same by changing the mouthpiece of its mask. When they had finished dancing, the house was gone. It went back to the animals, and all the chiefs were ashamed because Wakashi now had the best dance. Then Wakashi made a house and masks and a totem pole out of wood. And when the totem pole was finished, the people composed a song for it. This pole was the first of the tribe had ever had. The animals had named it Kalukuwish, the pole that holds up the sky, and they were said that it made creaking noises because the sky was so heavy. And Wakashi took took for his own the name of the totem pole, Kalukuwish, based on the version reported by Natalie Curtis in 1907. Okay, guys, that ends my broadcast. I will see you all next Friday. If you have suggestions, you can post them to witchesgrove.com, or you can PM me or in the main. So I will talk to you guys all later. Bye, guys.